Assessor's report.
Motion to restate.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
OEM report.
Motion to restate.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
C911 report.
Motion to restate.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Grant report.
Motion to restate.
All in favor? Law enforcement report.
Motion to restate.
I have a question. I had sent, responded to an email we received, from Dawn, and I never got a response.
You haven't got a response? Okay. What was the question, ma'am?
I had spoken to the mayor of Yeovil in regards to the report that y'all give him on the metro,
Okay,
and I was wondering if we could include that in our packet.
okay.
And then we also don't have the additional reports we've been asking you for in today's packet.
What's the additional report? We emailed you the stats for January, but I have to bring a copy of them too as well.
Okay,
But we did email them, correct?
Which one are you speaking about?
I'm asking for the report from Metro, the information regarding Metro.
Yeah, I just got to ask you today about that, because he's the one that prepared that, and I didn't have the answer.
So what is the answer? Will it be included in our packet from now
Yes,
on?
But I do have, before I come up here, after I spoke with Dawn, I wrote down the numbers. I can
Okay,
give
that'd be
them to
great.
you now if that would be okay.
That'd be wonderful, thank you.
And also the activity report for county, you have that, correct?
I have a report that Dawn sent us. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this activity report that we sent last month.
No,
No, we do not have that.
We emailed that, what day, Dawn?
Is that the one that's got the calls and all that listed? Yeah, I got that.
Okay, that came from Dawn. Okay,
Yes.
that's the one she sent.
Right, but is there a reason why we can't have a hard copy?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I just
No, I
thought
mean-
we had emailed.
I mean, I apologize if I sent it wrong, but I've got the hard copy here if you like it.
Do you have a copy for all of us?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I don't,
not receive the report.
Okay.
I don't need them.
so from now on, we'll be getting 3 pages of reports.
Metro, county, and then our
Perfect,
other report that we
Yeah.
sent.
perfect, thank you, Sheriff, I appreciate that.
I had one question on your Quorum Court monthly report. This one, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we showed, or you showed the bull shoals and flipping, but we don't show Gillville. So
That's the report I'm asking.
I understand that. What I'm saying is on this report here, he's showing flipping the bull shoals. Wouldn't it be just as well as show, I mean, if we're showing something on one, we should show all on one and the report speak for themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So we could add,
You talking about up here on intakes?
yeah.
Yeah,
You got Bull Shoals, Flippin, Marion County. So you want to break down of Gillville and Summit as well?
Gillville is still, it's under Metro.
Uh-huh.
And when we have a contract, we work out the differences, we still end up with need to know what's going on there.
Okay.
And you have a Metro report now?
I'm gonna give you them numbers here, yes.
Hey, Sheriff. I got that.
And
got that, sir?
while you're doing that,
Yes,
Can I ask another question?
Karen?
I see where we're down with the DLC inmates. Is that, can you still, it's 27 versus the 30, or are we including the 2 females, 27? So that makes 29.
Yes, that would put us at 29.
Okay,
Did you get a chance to look at the percent for that, communication on the front?
Commissary stuff,
Yeah, well, it's, somewhere,
everybody get a copy?
somewhere 75% of the communication up front transferred to the jail front. You want to take a look and see what you thought was a fair percent.
Okay. I guess with that being said, I have a question, on that, but let me get this, report thing out of the way here. Our activity report for the Metro, for the month of January, we had 1 citation, 17 written warnings, 1 accident, 2 motorist assist, 6 resident assist, 3 fire department assist, 1 medical assist, 13 officer assist, 5 paper service, 1 building check, 1 physical arrest, 16 warrants, 3 domestics, 21 incident reports, 19 incident complaints that didn't require a report, 1 follow-up on reports, 2 civil process or civil paper service, 1 court appearance, and 4 inmates transported. Any questions pertaining to that?
So the report, this monthly activity report, in my email, I had asked, are those numbers included, or are these?
Them numbers
that you-
are tallied in with the county's stats.
Just so I, understand, traffic citations 27, so really it's 26 and 1 for y'all, just make sure I understand.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions as far as reports? Stats, I mean. Okay. As far as the monies with the commissary, and I'm just asking this because I'm not clear, so we've got a budget that has been approved for 2021, correct? Okay. So with that being approved, and we're just the second month into the year, well, why are we looking at moving monies right now? I mean, that's just a question I have.
What the law says is up to 75% is supposed to be moved. You're supposed to do that.
Okay,
The phrasing on the law, both in the sheriff's manual and in the law, is the same. Must allocate up to 75%.
okay.
And that's what I said. It just, there's no minimum on it. So just dedicate something over quick to take care of today. Tell us what a percent you think would be proper for.
So are you saying there's not any monies being moved over now?
No, you said, I said at this point, I asked last, at the
The
law.
reason I say that, Justice White, is because since I took office, I haven't reallocated the monies from where they was going originally. Wherever it was going before I took office, that's where it's going now.
And what I said, what it shows is what the law says. The law just says, it says the same exact thing in your book. And if you look at, get down towards the bottom where it has Attorney General options or comments, they say the same thing. It's not a question of doing it in the past, it's a question of correcting our mistakes from the past
Okay.
and going forward. At this point, I would really like to get what you think a fair percent is, because at some point, we're gonna have to start doing it.
Well, I guess my thoughts are, here we are 2 months into the year, how would I be fair saying what I'm comfortable with now? I mean, you know, we're not no further into the year than we are, I guess would be my question.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sure that
I just need
people
to,
that get pulled over for speeding tickets feel the same way, or confused about it, but the law's the law in this particular case.
Okay.
How we resolve it is up to all of us to try to figure it out, but it's not gonna go away. We have to do something.
Mr. Chairman, what Rick is bringing up, the problem is you brought up a very interesting issue, and that is at budget time, it's never been brought up at budget time. That's not your fault. What we're trying to put together now is all these various funds, these extra funds that are there and sitting there. We're not using them. And so now at budget time for next year, that'll be one of the line items when it looks at revenue to come up, not at, it'll be like September, to say how much up, like he says, up to 75%. So we can look at it as part of the revenue. Because what we're struggling with is trying to look at all these different funds where they can be used for common issues.
We just gotta come up with something.
Okay.
Between us, come up with something, we'll look at it.
all right, thank you.
I think we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Library report?
Motion to receive. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Fair board report.
Motion to receive.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Road report.
Motion to receive. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Quarry report.
Motion to receive.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Solid waste report.
Motion to receive. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Planning commission quarterly,
Nothing at this time, we haven't had a meeting this quarter yet.
thank you. Budget and personnel committee,
The budget committee will be having a meeting this Thursday at 5:30 in the annex, if weather permits, to discuss the CARES Act money and, generators for the courthouse and annex and some other items. Personnel has not set a meeting.
law enforcement committee,
We had a meeting last week. James, you want to read minutes?
The whole thing. You want them read?
Well, we can go the short way. The minutes are filed with the county clerk. Basically, what we went through is a lot of conversation, and the conversation focused around a lot of the questions we haven't been able to ask. One of them was one we just talked about, where we have one law that has been overlooked for a very long time. And just like where we're taking the court fees and trying to put them in the general fund, it's not the sheriff's fault for what happened in the past. It's getting to a point where we can start doing what's required of us. And that's why I'm working with the sheriff on that, trying to get that resolved. Well, there were other issues too about it. One was the other one I just mentioned was the fees. Talked about that. We also talked about the fact that on the metro, we had two issues that happened that were not quite right. We've straightened out our county judge has straightened out the contract now, and we're going to proceed with it. The issues up on it was in 2018, the borderline of metro of what they were supposed to take care of increased. They included Summit with a interlocking contract between Yellville and Summit, and they didn't notify us that there was a change. We also weren't notified that it increased the cost of metro. And these two issues were, and it's the sheriff, sheriff and I had a talk during the meeting about that too, that anytime the funds are changed or something happens with funds, it should be brought before the Quorum Court. Also, anytime your contract is increased, it should be brought before the Quorum Court. And that was the main issues we talked about. Past that, it was pretty normal meeting. We got a lot of information out. Like I said, the minutes are filed with the clerk. Anybody wants them to go see them. That's it.
I've got a question on the law enforcement committee. I was just wondering who called the meeting to order and who.
I sent you an email to Brady11. Is that your address?
I don't do email.
You got two emails. One was from me and one was from the clerk, telling you were on the law committee and the setup of it was.
And I don't know how everybody else wants to do it on the committee deals, but I feel like that when I was on there and I was the chairman, that I should have been the one that went to Don and said, hey, we're gonna set up a meeting. But obviously somebody else went to Don and I knew nothing about it until Clinton called me at 5:30, wanted to know if I was gonna be at the meeting.
And you don't get emails.
No, I don't do email.
So you want phone calls from now?
I do phone call or text, and I'll be honest, I work 7 days a week, 10, 12 hours a day. I don't have time to email. I get 40 calls a day and I can't check them all.
I'll start calling you. You take messages on your phone though, right?
Yes,
I'll
sir.
start calling you on the phone now.
But I don't know how, I mean, we may want to talk about that through all the committees, because I just figured the chairman would be the one that would go to the,
You know you're on the budget committee. And
You
we meet
are.
Thursday night.
But anyway, that was my whole deal, and I didn't know nothing about the meeting until it was already over.
I just assumed you knew, because I noticed that there were two different email addresses used, mine and the one that the clerk had, but I assumed you got your emails.
But should the chairman not be the one to call the meeting, or is that?
The judge wanted a meeting set up for that day, so we'd have it a week before this meeting.
I figured the judge would have called me and said, hey, let's have a meeting since I was the chairman, but he never called either, so.
Can I make, is that, I've never gotten a response on an email from you. Is that why?
I just don't check, I don't have
I
time
think
to check.
so, because I sent.
I know I send data out to all the JPs. I send a file out and say, here, look at this.
Well, is that Chairman, is that information that the clerk had and somehow we all missed it? You know, because it asked for our email address and that's how she contacts
No,
us.
I
So
mean,
I don't know that it's our fault for not knowing you don't check your emails.
Yeah, maybe so, but I mean, what I'm saying is the chairman should have been the one that called the meeting. If we're gonna have a committee meeting, the chairman should be the one that calls the meeting, I feel like. And that's my only thing is. But maybe not. But anyway, we'll move on to solid waste.
I'm going to call you on everything, you know?
Yeah, if you call me, cause I don't have time to check my email, I'll be honest, I've got way too much going on to.
I'll make a point of calling you, I'll do the same thing, I guess, because she had mentioned to me, you don't answer her emails either.
I know that's everybody's. Solid waste, nothing at this time on solid waste. Procedures and management,
The chairman of that committee is no longer with us, but there's not been a meeting scheduled that I'm aware
unfinished business. New business.
Yeah, I've got something on unfinished
Oh,
business.
go ahead, Justice.
Mr. Pasting,
Yes.
did we ever come up with, I remember like a couple months ago, I was gonna follow up with you, I never really did, but we talked about like the whole Quorum Court made I don't remember what it was called now. We asked you to send a letter to asking for help with prosecution, voted no confidence and stuff. Did we ever get a reply on that letter?
I'm drawing a blank. We had the conversation. The last discussion I remember on a letter was getting some help on the prosecution at the transfer station. And we had some information that was provided to Mr. Etheridge some time ago, and that's what I had to follow up on.
Yeah.
As to what happened with that. So that is my recollection of where we left it, was him prosecuting the issues of the transfer station. And we did get some information, Sandy got me some information on that, and that's been provided today, but it's been a while since I followed up with him, I will follow up with him.
Yeah, did you draft the letter and send it out? I never got a copy of it.
Right. I have a letter that's sitting on my desk, but I don't remember if it's saying that it's a no confidence situation or if it was getting help for prosecuting the transfer station. Because again, I remember the discussion, but then I thought it turned to actually, if we could get something prosecuted, then we weren't in a situation to send that letter. So like I say, it's sitting on my desk.
So I don't mean to drill you here, but do you remember if you ever sent a letter to the state?
No, because where I thought we were is that if we could get these people prosecuted, and what had been conveyed to me is that if we get him a number, then we look forward to a prosecution happening. So if a prosecution were to happen, then there wouldn't be a need to send that letter, because the whole point was to get a prosecution occur.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are you gonna send the letter? I mean, where are we now?
Well,
Are we waiting for a number from somebody? I mean, I'm kind of lost with this,
well,
correct, this, the way this is going,
Sandy knows the number,
okay?
and that number was provided to David.
And nothing's happened.
Nothing's happened.
So is the letter sitting on your desk asking David, what's the next step? I mean, do you need to kind of
No, no.
nudge him?
Well, the letter's actually to Bob McMahon, the prosecutor coordinator office, but I think probably the thing to do is for me to send David a letter, I can do it tomorrow, saying, hey, we got you this information, we want you to go forward.
Okay.
That's what we'll,
I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but my recollection of the matter was that we had given up on David prosecuting, and that's why we needed the letter, not to ask David to prosecute again. Thought we were to the point where it's like, okay, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. Absolutely no one has been held accountable. Let's just ask the state for help. That's what I thought. That's where I thought we were at. That's why we voted no confidence. So in other words, I would like to have the copy of the letter that's sent to the state sent to me so I can have that. And I understand that it's a formality. I called the state. They said that there's nothing they can do. It's just getting ridiculous.
Any more questions? New business? Ordinance number 1, postage ordinance. Sponsored by Justice McCullough.
Okay, this is ordinance 2021-7 in the County Court of Marion County, to be enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance that will transfer postage monies back to the collector. Article 1, whereas the clerk, jury, election commission, assessor, equalization board, child support, and the Quorum Court have used a postage meter that is maintained by the county collector's office for their postage, therefore a report has been taken from the meter October 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, showing what has been used by each department and how it needs to be reimbursed to the county collector's office. Therefore, be it ordered by that the county clerk transfer the above, it should say below, said line items amounts for the following: county and circuit clerk, fund 3021, to county collector, 3021, 16510, election commission, 64712. Assessor's office, $120.15. Child support, $30.63. Quorum Court, $75.40. Be it further ordered that the clerk of the court record this order in the proper journals for the Marion County, Arkansas. This ordinance is here enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion to receive.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
We got a motion?
You need a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second.
Okay. Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
No.
Did you say no?
You said yes.
Yes.
Oh, you said yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. Justice Underwood,
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2, amend ordinance 2021-6, clerical errors.
Okay. Being enacted by the Quorum, this is 2021-8. Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance 21-6 to correct clerical errors. Article 1, county judge cell phone line item should be 1,130.22. County judge computer support line item should be 1,131.02. County judge machine rental item should be $1,130.73. Sales tax, solid waste repair parts line item should be $1,802,720.23. Article 2, this ordinance is herein enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions?
Justice Nichols,
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmel.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 3, ordinance postage, ordinance treasurer's office, sponsored by Justice McCullough.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled an ordinance to refund property taxes for 2019 collected in error. Article 1, a refund shall be issued to Teresa Stewart, P.O. Box 47, Pyatt, Arkansas 72672 by the Marion County Treasurer. 1,000 County General 3315 subtract County Road 995 subtract County Library 595 subtract Ozark Mountain 242 subtract $242 subtract City of Pyatt 3315 subtract City Pyatt Streets 9.95 subtract for a total of $334.15. This ordinance herein enacted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions?
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Underwood,
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmel.
Yes.
Justice- Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 4, refund property taxes, collector's office
That's the one we
sponsored.
just did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Number 5.
Oh, I skipped one, I'm sorry. What did I do with it? What happened to it? I know, it's right there.
So we're going back to the postage ordinance.
Yes, please, I'm sorry.
Back to the postage ordinance.
What number will that be?
10, being enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, in order to be entitled transfer $9 from 3,103 to 3073 to 1,103 3073 to cover the increase of a post office box. This ordinance herein is enacted as appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any questions?
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Underwood,
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Justice
Whoever I am.
whoever you are. Justice Scrimmel.
Yeah.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 5, 2019 cleanup, various offices, sponsored by Justice McCullough and White.
I'd like to make a motion on that.
Got a motion on the floor.
I'd like the motion to read by title only.
Motion made by
Hang
title
on,
only.
hang on.
Have a motion and a second by
Okay, Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Justice Madden,
yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrimmel,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2111, being enacted, let's see, this ordinance will amend ordinance 2019-86 for the calendar year 2020 for Marion County, Arkansas, and it is simply a cleanup ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion in 2 seconds.
You only need one, so you can go out and leave.
I didn't hear the first one, so. Let's see, where are we? Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham, yes, Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 6, amending ordinance 2021-4, correcting phone numbers, sponsored by Justice White and McCullough.
Motion to receive.
Wait, what?
We
We haven't read it yet.
Well, I would like to make a motion to read that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Chairman. Trying to speed it up too quick.
Okay, Justice Shipman,
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren.
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Justice Madden.
Yes.
An ordinance amending the annual operating budget 2021-4 for the calendar year 2021 for Marion County, Arkansas. During the first pay period, the first payment of 2021 claims, the wrong fund numbers were used on the claims and timesheets. The following adjustment needs to be made in order to correct these errors.
Motion.
Okay, Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance to clean up road department and building improvement fund, sponsored by Justice Madden, to be mailed at a later date.
What did he say?
We had one said.
Okay, this is 2113. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance that will create a line item in the transfer station sales tax fund and the transfer station electronic grant fund. Go ahead. Article 1, create line item in 1802-700, which will be 3090 dues and memberships, and appropriate $500 to this line item to cover costs of dues and memberships to be paid. Article 2, create line item 3559-700, which will be 2001 general supplies, and appropriate $5,000 to this line item to cover the cost of materials for the electronic grants recycling. Article 3, this ordinance herein is acted as an appropriation ordinance and therefore is effective immediately.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay. Justice McCullough,
Yes.
Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White.
Yes.
Justice Underwood,
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think Brent, was you gonna have something?
Uh,
Justice Scrimmel?
I had passed out an ordinance to be, get
Yeah,
on the
we still
agenda.
got- We still have more ordinances.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the last
This-
one. on
No,
my
we got
sheet.
one last one here.
Yeah.
This is the pay for stay.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
This is for the pay for stay for the city prisoners. This is number 14. Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of Marion County, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled an ordinance amending ordinance 2005-17, establishing reasonable rates for compensation for the care and housing of city prisoners who are lodged in the Marion County Jail. Article 1, in the absence of an agreement on jail costs between agencies in the county and all municipalities having law enforcement agencies in the county, the Quorum Court may by ordinance establish a daily fee to be charged to the municipalities for keeping prisoners of municipalities in the county jail, 12-41-506. Article 2, a charge of $50 per day for prisoners established for the various cities of Marion County. Article 3, municipalities whose prisoners are maintained in the county jail shall be responsible for paying the fee established by the Quorum Court in the county. Article 4, when a prisoner is sentenced to a county jail for violating a municipal ordinance, the municipality shall be responsible for paying the fee established by an agreement or ordinance of the Quorum Court in the county. Article 5, a day is defined as a 6-hour period of time beginning at 4 p.m. of each day. Article 6, the Sheriff's Department is established as the timekeeping agency for the purposes of this ordinance and will bill the various towns and/or government units by the 10th day of the following month. Billing intervals shall not exceed 30 days. Any municipality that is more than 60 days past due on payment shall not be allowed to house prisoners in the county. Article 7, the county sheriff shall remit to the county treasurer the fees collected under this section and shall report on a monthly basis to the Quorum Court the fees collected. All fees under this section shall be credited to the county general fund, 1,418 county jail. Article 8, all provisions of ordinance 8617, 9507, and 2005-17 in conflict with this ordinance are hereby amended to read as stated above. Article 9, the various articles and provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable. If any article, provision, or part thereof shall be held to be invalid, the invalidity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of said article or provisions or of this ordinance. Article 10, that due to the continued increasing cost of the incarceration of prisoners and the reduced monies available to cities and counties for the housing of prisoners, an emergency is declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon passage.
Questions?
Well, what happened,
Wait, no, we need to,
we need, there you go, yeah.
of course, we have to vote, I mean, we need to,
agree that.
right.
At the law committee, Dawn asked a question, and it kind of bothered me.
Wait, it's going to die for lack of a
No,
motion.
it's gonna be quick.
Well,
Well,
we have to
all we
get
need
a
to do
motion
is
and
You have the motion and
Motion
second
at a
it.
time, okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion. How's that?
I
Okay,
got a motion.
someone second it.
Rick seconded it. Go ahead, Rick.
At the law committee, Dawn asked a question. The question kind of bothered me, not because it's a bad question, because it just kept eating at me. What she said was, when we talked about this here, is she said, well, does this only have to do with the felons and stuff? And I said, whatever the old one was. Well, bothered me, I looked it up. This law and our laws cover any prisoners that are coming in from the city. And then today, that started bothering me again. And I sent another letter to Dawn that came back the same way, that any county prisoners we have, they don't all pay the state fund. The judge, according to my understanding, has the right to say, felons and stuff get to pay it, but the lower ones, they don't have to pay $50. That puts us at odds with the city, because all the city people follow this, and we do not bill the city courts. We bill directly to the city. At this point, that would mean the city would have to pay for their prisoners, all of their prisoners coming to the jail, where on the county side, the judge is deciding not to. So it kind of puts us at odds with how the city works. The second issue I found was this, that the way the two laws, and like on the city, the sheriff has to send the monthly bill to the city, and they have to pay it. Every ordinance we've written on the city, we have two of them I've looked at, all of them say the same thing. And as far as I know, we're not sending a bill to the city because they're refusing to pay it. We need to be able to push the city through. But again, with this law, we're going to be at odds with the city and the way the city works and the way we work. Our judge and their judge, and I don't believe their judge is going to make the lower criminals pay anyway. But I don't know. That's it for me.
Clinton?
I'd just like to make a comment when we're looking at ways to generate funds for the sheriff's department. The month of January, we billed $27,500 to ADC for these inmates we're holding. I called the treasurer's office today, and for the month of January, our M&O tax was just a little over $40,000. That $40,000 and the 27.5 puts us just a little bit under $68,000 for the month of January. Our expenses paid out were just a little over $43,000 for the jail. So we're making big steps here, I feel like, to generate money. And if we're $25,000 to the good for that month, and I realize that sales tax is probably on the high side for January, because I don't know that January usually has a sales tax that high. But if you look at, say, we average in the low 30s, and we're maintaining this 27.5 so far as keeping our bed space, filled in ADC. So, that's a significant amount that we're looking at there, I feel like. So if that's any, help to you guys as far as letting you know where we're at on that, I thought that was a pretty good January, really good January.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman? You're right about the jail with the advent of the Department of Correction prisoners that bailed the jail out. But if you look at this year's budget with law enforcement, it used $400,000 from county general. So we're still short in trying to come up with the funds. What the problem we're having is this law has been on the book since 1986 and no money's being collected at all. And we just, if the law serves no purpose, then get rid of it. What we did is enhance the law now because this law has been there and we quoted the actual state law. It says in lieu of an agreement, I'm for having agreements with the different cities. As long as we know what's being spent, what's being used. I'm not for penalizing a city, but there's a service that the county's paying for that. And, you look at law enforcement, you look at 911 now being it separated, it was short money this last month. We took $100,000 out of county general to help fund 911 and make it independent. So we're still struggling for funding. And the point is we got a law in the books that wasn't being followed. And we just said, let's make it so it's more adhered to and following. Thank you.
I think Mayor, if we got time, Mayor wanted to speak on.
I'm sorry, I understand that I have no standing in Quorum Court, but you've just introduced legislation that directly affects cities. I have a couple of questions about it since it's the first I'm hearing about it. First any of the cities are hearing about it, I suspect. As I understand this, you're going to charge the cities a fee to hold prisoners for misdemeanor charges. Is that the gist of it? Are you going to charge rural county residents that same fee?
The way the law reads, the way I read it, what it says is that anywhere you have the cities with a police force.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the ones that are outside that don't have police forces, that falls under the county, I believe.
My point precisely. Secondarily, was there not a law passed recently where each citizen of the county pays a tax to fund the jail separately? There was
That's kind of like the argument we had earlier where the budget's just complete, why should we have to pay more out? Following the law is hard for everybody, and what the law
concern is double taxation.
And we're just trying to
Again,
we're just trying to hold to the law, and what the law says is if you got a city, Bull Shoals, Flippin, and Yellville, and you have a court system set up in it, if somebody's arrested out Mountain View or something, they're taken to a county court. The fines are immediately put to them in the county court. I mean, it depends on where your court goes. They have their own court system within the cities, and that's what these are directed at.
so the fact that we're already funding law enforcement activities through a bond issue and through county and state taxes is being set aside in favor of this internal county statute.
Yeah.
Just want to be clear about this.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure I get the language right when the lawsuit goes forward.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Nixon, the fact that we're all paying 0.5% sales tax for bond issue to fund the jail, we're all paying 1/4 sales tax to operate the maintenance of the jail. The jail is roughly I'll say $550,000 short. It did get through Clint, get DOC prisoners to make up the difference. So it brings it up that it's doing real good right now due to the fact that you have the Department of Correction prisoners. But if that stopped now you're $300,000 or $400,000 short in the operation of the jail.
Cannot speak for the other municipalities. I haven't had a chance to talk with any of them yet. This strikes me as discriminatory against urban residents, period. There's a separate standard for cities, separate standard for everyone else in the county.
See, there's two laws. One handles county prisoners, the same thing, and the other one handles cities that don't have an agreement. So they're both the same. They're not discriminating between city prisoners. Now, what we have found out, if the judge sitting in, not the county judge, sits in there and has a misdemeanor and doesn't charge them, that's up to the judge's discretion, judicial judge. So, and even circuit judge. So you have some judgment that's beyond all of our control, depending upon what side of the bed the judge got up today. So that's in there too, and we have no control over that. No one does.
Take one more, Justice.
I've got a question for the mayor of Bull Shoals. Do you guys have your own street crew that like paves the streets and whatnot?
Yes, we do.
Why would different rules apply? Like, why would the citizens of Marion County not be responsible for paving the streets in Bull Shoals, but we're responsible for, we're double taxing if you guys have to pay for the stay in the county jail? I mean, if that rule applied, wouldn't the county graders take care of the city roads?
County graders do not. By that logic, we ought to put a toll booth up at the city and charge everyone who drives on Bull Shoals streets a toll to use our streets.
How do you pay for them right now?
Right now, we pay for them out of sales tax revenue through the state.
So same money that's used to pay for the county roads?
Well, they can work.
I don't know where your county roads funding comes from. The city comes from sales tax on gasoline.
Right. So I didn't, you said that you're concerned about double taxation. The concern for double taxation would be that a citizen of the county that doesn't live inside of Bull Shoals has to pay Bull Shoals' bills. That would be double taxation.
No, that's a fee assessed by the entire state. It would be double taxation if we put a toll booth up and charged everyone who entered town to drive on our streets. Which is essentially what you're doing. You're charging us to use the jail we're already paying for.
So if I don't live in Bull Shoals, you believe that it should be my responsibility to pay to house someone who's arrested inside of Bull
The
Shoals?
state legislature has allocated those funds.
So these funds right here.
This is not a Bull Shoals ordinance. It's a state statute.
Correct, but you stood up and said that it would be double taxation for the people inside
The
of
county
Bull Shoals.
passed another ordinance putting an additional fee on us above and beyond the average citizen.
So
Just
if
as special for the municipality.
if the sheriff's office picked somebody up in Bull Shoals, you wouldn't have to pay $50, would you?
You got
Sheriff's office doesn't pick people up in Bull Shoals.
Sheriff, has anybody ever been arrested by the Marion County Sheriff's Office inside of Bull Shoals?
they got home rule.
Well, and Mayor, I'll interject. There is an ordinance that is a paper stay ordinance that takes care of folks in rural areas of the county. So the ordinance that we have, 2005, 2006, we passed two ordinances back-to-back years. I think one ordinance covered the rural residents in addition to the municipalities. Sorry, I think that'll answer your question with regard
If
to.
in fact you have an ordinance that charges rural residents a fee, I withdraw my objection because then everyone is being handled equally.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm hearing tonight.
Oh, there's a law in the book for county prisoners that's separate. This one applies for those cities that don't have an aid agreement, only those cities. And the circuit, the judge who's presiding cannot assess the fee, and we have no control over it. But as far as double taxation, the bond issue, we're all paying for it, and it was passed by the voters, and the quarter-cent sales tax, which I know you don't get a part of that. I saw that. But the 1%, you do get a share of that.
So you start charging rural residents the same fee or the appropriate fee under statute, I have no objection.
Yeah.
But to set the cities aside as a target, I do object to.
Yeah.
Vehemently.
I got a motion and a second on it.
Yes,
Hang on, got one
All
more
right,
question.
I apologize for the question, but it came to mind, this is for Sam. Does the contract with the Metro for Yeovil and Summit, does that create any difference for them under this particular topic than flipping the full
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. Are you
I know what
saying,
he's saying.
do we,
I know
do
what
we
he's
include
saying.
Metro in, this city?
Well, we're talking about paying for the
Pay to
pay for
stay?
stay on the inmates.
Our contract with, Yeovil Summit is for the police force only. They don't discuss the,
Yeah.
prisoners at all in there.
That was my question, that's what I was asking.
I don't know, it's,
That would, I concur with Justice Sykes' thinking on
Okay,
this.
thank you.
I would think it would include their prisoners too.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sam, sorry, Mr. Payson. I asked a bunch of questions, but I didn't really get any answers. Why do we do it differently with like the roads and stuff? But we're suggesting that it works differently with the law enforcement, with those different, like the Marion County Road Department is not responsible for the streets in Bull Shoals. Is our jail responsible for housing their inmates?
Well, as I understand the law, county creates a jail, and that jail is gonna receive the prisoners, cities and such. The cities aren't necessarily required to have their own detention center. Not the best answer to the question, but I'm going to the deep recesses here, that if the county has a facility, then the county holds the prisoners that come in from the cities and such. The statute that we cite in the ordinance lays out the ability for the county to levy a fee to the city for holding their prisoners.
So I guess my question is he said that if we do this, that there's a lawsuit coming. So what did he mean by that?
I can't speak for the mayor, but I can't speak for the mayor, but as I heard what the mayor has shared, I think part of the mayor's issue was he had an objection if we were charging city residents as opposed to rural residents. But we're not. We have an ordinance that says everybody has a pay per stay obligation, doesn't discern city or county. It's just everybody gets, if a person looks at any circuit court judgment that we have in a criminal case, it'll have a line for pay per stay. Be it a city of Woodland case, be it a city of Youngville, be it a Payette case, South Ralph case, what have you. I would submit that the structure that we have treats the citizenry the same.
Just one second. The law that this is written under is where you have a county organization and a county jail. In bigger places, Little Rock, they have, the old police has their own jail. The law you need is clear. It's 1241-506, the next one after 505. That one tells you how to get that money and pay us. And I've got a copy right here for you, and you can have it. But it reads where you are putting your prisoners in a county facility, not a municipal facility. You pay your police to do their job. They don't have anywhere to put their prisoners. They have to give them to us. And we have a county jail. If you have a city jail, you put them in there. If we have put county people in it, you charge us for it.
So it's your
Here's
position,
your law, the one you're saying you're gonna file on, you might as well have a copy of it.
so it's your position that citizens of the city of Bull Shoals are not
I'm saying
residents,
that you're a
citizens of Marion
municipality and
County.
here's the law that you have for you.
Is it your position that the citizens of Bull Shoals are not citizens of Marion County?
You know,
I
I'm not
call the-
talking
I call
cows
the
and dogs
question.
and silly things like that.
I call
You
the
know they are.
question.
We got a motion and a second, Don.
yes. Okay, first we have to vote on calling the question. Justice Scrima,
Yes.
Justice Nichols.
Yes.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Underwood.
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman.
Yes.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough.
Yes.
Okay, now we will vote on ordinance number 2114. Justice Nichols,
No.
Justice Van Kuren,
Yes.
Justice White,
Yes.
Justice Underwood,
Yes.
Justice Madden,
Yes.
Justice Shipman,
No.
Justice Brigham,
Yes.
Justice McCullough,
No.
Justice Scrima.
Yes.
Motion passed. One more, we have a resolution for a
Okay.
grant. This resolution is authorizing the county judge to apply for a grant on behalf of the Oakland Promised Land Fire Protection District for self-contained breathing apparatus, 24 tankers. And this is the Oakland Promised Land community has raised $8,490 for community cash or in-kind donation to be applied for this as a local match. So resolves that we're going to ask for a grant for $8,490. This is resolution 21-1.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we got Brent with the
Now.
Marshall's Fire Department.
I'm here tonight for the Chiefs Association. Our current chief, president is Chief Billy Powell. He apologized, he couldn't make it tonight, but, he's president, I'm vice president. We'll have a representative here from here out. The Chiefs Association, basically, it's comprised of all the fire chiefs in the county. I've got some information here I'll pass out to you all. It's basically our stats for 2020, number of personnel in the departments, stuff like that. That's kind of some of what we'd like to report to you guys, let you know kind of what the departments and even what the Chiefs Association's doing. Currently, we do have a radio committee set through the Chiefs Association. Basically what they've been, and we've been talking to you guys throughout the process, but equipment wise, trying to get everything up to speed. It's about 3-4 months ago, we went into the sheriff's office and we got the last pieces of some equipment from years back from the grant. Once that we finally got all that kind of set in place, North Tower should be up and running. It's still got some issues, but it's program stuff like that that's being tweaked through some of the departments. Mostly Lakeway, Peel. Those are the ones that are using that primarily. So up until a few months back, the North Tower's been down since it was installed. So again, we knew probably programming was kind of an issue. Once we got to that point, we actually got a company now that's coming in and working adequately on the Harris equipment. Our next step is study maps. So we've got the companies coming in and looking at study over our coverage. We're anticipating that to come out here pretty quick. The coverage maps are obviously going to show us short. We've talked to you guys about it. It's currently the fire chiefs are using 3 antennas. Sheriff's Department has 8. They're on an analog system, we're on a digital. So there's going to be faults on both sides that we're going to have to have more coverage, more antennas, more repeaters on both sides, fire and police. We use VHF, they use VHF, so different signal bandwidth. But we'll get all that together. We'll probably come with not necessarily a wish list, but just kind of showing you guys where our deficiencies are. The radio committee right now, we're trying to update our protocols for the fire side. We'll get with the police agencies, both cities, county, dispatch, kind of get all that straightened out. There was a new set that was issued to the sheriff's office, I believe last year, I think the year before, on the procedures dispatch uses. So we're just trying to update those make sure everything's appropriate. So, you guys have any questions?
Can I add something to his report? I met with them last week. There's a new law that was passed last year in July of 2019 that sets different guidelines for 911 dispatch centers. And what it's done in the law, it made clear on certain issues on what you can do, what you can't do. I was going through my data and I found a report that the fire departments had to spend, they had to come up with $37,000 to fix the towers for the dispatch system. And I said, why is the fire department having to spend money for the 911 system? And I sat down with them after talking to the judge about having a presentation for all the cities and the different people that this new, they've got a whole new board. It's not a new board, it's the same members, but it's different in requirements, and it makes it very spelled out on your dispatchers, what they can do, what they can't do. The PSAP money has to be spent for PSAP. They recommend, and I didn't know this, setting 15% of the total revenue aside for upgrades. We've never had any money set aside. And what we're going to try and do is have a presentation about the issues, because David and I talked yesterday. What's coming down the line, if we don't start making some changes to the 911 operation, and it makes a comment in there, they're going to start auditing of the 2022, and they're going to look at the operations. And they even say in there that they allowed them to start reducing the PSAP centers, working with other counties. One of the things it has in there, David, is if the dispatching is doing an additional service to a city, then they have written agreements that got to be approved by this board in order to look at the exchange. Because here's something that was said, but we don't realize we're all being taxed on our phone bill. Well, do you know why? Do any of you know why we're being taxed on the phone bill? I'll tell you why. It's so when you dial 911 an emergency, you get a call and response immediately. That's what you're paying the tax for. If you got a problem and you call, and it says it very clear in there, they're looking at that facility and they're starting to look at the funding. We got some extra money this year, and I saw there was $28,000 additional in there that we didn't count on. I'm going to recommend to John and the budget committee is to start setting that aside. What it was suggested is just what you said, have an independent person come in and look at this whole system and see the mapping, the towers, because to me, we talk about cities having to pay. Why are the fire departments having to pay for a county system? And so we're not going to make changes. This board is going to come down and start making changes. I'm going to talk to David about having, I've got the approval to have a PowerPoint presentation to explain to people the 911 system, not ours, the 911 system, and some of the issues we're going to have. Because, and when I talked to Bryce the other day, I wouldn't blame Bryce. I wouldn't blame Jackie. I wouldn't blame anybody. There's enough blame to go around for 30 years. And if we don't make changes, you think we got problems now. By July 2022, we're going to have real problems. So I wanted you to know that. I sat down with them and we talked about the Fire Chiefs Association, who has the towers, there are 3 towers, having aid agreement with the county in exchange for the fire protection, and the county maintains the system. I think it's an insult that I saw the letter. They all had to come out $2,000 or $3,000 a piece. It was $37,000 that you had to repair the towers. That was in 2019. And to me, that's a disgrace, because it's really you're part of the system, so, but that's what's going on.
Any more
Thanks,
questions?
Frank.
You guys, I'll hand these out.
I think we have a hard thing too.
Brent, I'd like to, I think, speak on behalf of all the JPs. We appreciate y'all, fire departments and the chiefs, and I know a lot of it's volunteered and y'all put in a lot of countless hours for radios and trying to get all that, and we just wanna extend our gratitude and say thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass the word on.
Linda? We got Linda Vincent with the Have a Heart Pet Shelter.
Thank you.
Paul Ray said you only get 2.5 minutes, but if I give you 4, you'll
Thank you.
speak
I
8.
speak rather fast anyway.
I'm teasing.
I haven't been here for a year. Usually I was trying to come a couple times a year to give you updates. This is actually the first public meeting I've been to for over a year, so. But I wanted to share with you our wonderful numbers. It was a very difficult year, but we accomplished a great deal. If you would look on the spreadsheet that I gave you, in 2020, we took in 689 animals, the most we've ever taken in the 5 years we've been in existence. Of those 689 animals, 311 of them were adopted locally. 305 were transferred out of state for adoption. Of those 305 that were transferred out of state, close to 200 of them were puppies under the age of 4 months of age that were sent to puppy rescue in Illinois and Missouri. The adult dogs, about 100 that were sent away, primarily went to Massachusetts, and they are all pre-adopted before they get there. We have set up networks around the country to move as many animals as possible out of Arkansas, because we just don't have enough people here who are capable of adopting them or provide appropriate care for them. I know that many of the other rescues in this area are doing the same thing. The same thing is being done in Cherokee County, Beaver Spring, Gale's Second Chance. Almost all of her dogs are also sent out of state. We also returned 34 animals to their previous owners because they were brought in as strays and we found their owners. And 19 of our animals either died in our care or were euthanized. The bulk of those were primarily neonates that failure to thrive. I have 3 dead kittens buried in my flower garden. We have puppies that sometimes don't make it because they've been left in a ditch beside the road. The animals that have been euthanized, only one of them was euthanized for aggression, and he bit 2 of our volunteers. The others that were euthanized were at the recommendation of a veterinarian because for medical reasons. So our euthanization rate is way below what is allowed by the ASPCA to be considered a no-kill shelter, which the number is 1%. And our euthanization rate, I think, is 0.02. So we have done a great job in that regard. This year, one of our greatest accomplishments is at the bottom of the page, the number of spay and neuters that we have done. Our goal for many years has been to do 1,000 a year. And this is the first year we've ever passed 1,000. 364 animals were spayed and neutered at our spay and neuter clinics that we have 3 times a year. 296 community cats were spayed and neutered, and we were able to do that through a $10,000 grant that we got from the Arkansas Animal Rescue Foundation for community cats, for free-range cats. Have a Heart, the animals that came to the shelter, 397 of them, we paid for spay and neuter. So our grand total of spay and neuter is 1,057 animals.
Wow.
For Marion County, and I'm very pleased to report that. Today, as I was pulling these numbers together, where Marion County took in 689 animals, I also wanted to look and see what our neighboring counties have done. Harrison took in 280 animals. We took in 689. Baxter County took in 495 animals. We took in 689. Both of those counties have 100% paid employees. We are 100% volunteer.
Thank you, Linda. Any other announcements?
Motion?
Yeah, bring it into that.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Brady, you get paid extra for that tonight?
I did. I get judges paid tonight.